Well, hey, welcome back to my little gardening show. I wanted to take you along tonight. I upgraded part of my grow light setup, so I wanted to show you that real quick. There's a hydroponic store near where I work where they sell all kinds of gardening stuff. A lot of the stuff's kind of geared towards the recreational grower, so to speak. So he's got a lot of interesting stuff in his store, but one of the things he carries is grow lights, and I've been checking them out for a while now, and I decided to go with the Jungle T5 LED fixture by Plant Max. It's a company up in Canada or whatnot. Anyway, in talking with the owner of the hydroponic store, he really likes the company because they don't like jack him around if there's any kind of warranty work on anything. Not that he's had a lot, but he had a setup that was working in the store that was in a grow tent, and the thing puts out a lot of light. In fact, so I kept the box. I don't know if we can see that. Not real well anyway. It's got 120 volt, or 120, 277 volt LED bulbs, and it does put out a lot of light. I want to say like 6500 K, and it's cool to the touch, like it's not gonna burn anything. Really bright. Primary reason why I went with LED was just to save on the electric bill. Was it last month? We had the grow light setup going because I had the worms and just wanted to try to encourage them to stay in the bin and stuff like that. So I had the lights on a rotation going, and the electric bill went up, pretty substantially. I don't know if that was the only contributing factor, but it definitely contributed. So we axed that. This is going to use a lot less energy than the fluorescent bulbs that I had going. I had 5 going. Well, now I've got 3 fluorescents left. I took down my 2 and went with the 3 setup here. So these are my old lights that were over here. Let's see if we can tilt this up so you can kind of see. Maybe I'll turn one of these on too. I rigged this up where the switches are in the back, but I'll go ahead and let's see if we can angle the camera down so you can kind of see. The other thing that's kind of nice about this setup is that there are 2 circuits, so with independent controls, so I can power on half of this. I don't have to run all 4 lights that are in this thing. I can run 2 if I want. So let's just turn on 2. Feel for the switch. There's 2. And it's putting out probably as much light as my 6 bulb fluorescent bulbs over there, and it's more of an intense light. From what I understand, when I start seeds, I won't have to put these all the way down on top of the flats. In fact, I can go above that, probably about 12 inches at least. So running just the 2 bulbs, it's doing pretty well. Let's see if we can get the other set turned on. And you can kind of tell in the back there's just a lot of light there. let's take you off the stand here. Flip the camera around. Now I don't know the exact count of how many LEDs are in each bulb. Basically, I mean, that is just really bright. So a lot bright, a lot more light. One issue that I've had before in starting seeds in this space is having to move my trays around so that I don't get the uneven growth. Like typically if I kept them in one spot, all the stuff in the center would do pretty good, but the stuff around the edges, not so good. I think with this setup, with as bright as this is, it'll be interesting to see. It should be a lot more even growth. I won't have to mess around with my trays as much. Well, looks like my timer just went off, which killed the lights. I'm gonna hit the override real quick. The other thing about these bulbs, the only downside really is that this is primarily blue spectrum light or vegetative. It's on the vegetative spectrum of the scale, which again is no big deal for me because I'm going to be starting seeds from, you know, start to about 6-8 weeks out, and which is, this setup's perfectly fine for that. I'm not going to be trying to fruit anything or you know, grow tomatoes indoors or anything like that. These are just fine for starting tomato starts and getting them to where they need to be, you know, promoting the leafy growth and all that. And once, if I time it right, once they get to that point, I'll be moving them outdoors anyway, where they'll get the full spectrum of light and continue to grow and develop. Now, if I was gonna grow like fruiting plants indoors, like I wanted to do like little cherry tomatoes or you know, had a dwarf fruiting tree or whatever else, I don't know, anything that's going to develop like fruit, I would want something that would have the fruiting spectrum of the light, like more of the red light for that stage of growth. Now, I don't know, they may sell bulbs that are compatible with this where I could, you know, alternate, have some vegetative and then the colored LEDs that would give me that other spectrum. But there's really no need for what I'm using this for. Another potential upgrade on this is getting some Mylar, you know, so I basically conserve the light and the plants get more that way, you know, by it reflecting back onto the plants rather than dispersing out. But again, with the way this setup is, how bright this is, and totally covers this whole area, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Again, I don't know, I've never grown with LED bulbs before, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me and just kind of see what I can get away with as far as how high I can keep the lights from the plants, whether I can run just 2 bulbs, you know, run half this light or run the whole thing, depending on the switches. So maybe I can take you around to the back side of this light so you can kind of see. Let's see. The other thing that's nice too, and it's not on this side, it's actually on the other side. Depending if I wanted to expand off the same, I can daisy chain lights together where I could plug them in and just run them, you know, keep going. And it looks like with this setup I could do It says a max of 11 fixtures, if I'm reading that right. And that's quite a few lights. But with them being LED, they're not drawing as much voltage. So you probably could run that. Let's go around the other side. Now you see again, 2 switches. You can turn half of it off. You know, where I'm running just half the light. Turn it back on again. I can't adjust the intensity. There's other setups where you can adjust the intensity of the LED lights. I can't do that on these, and that's fine. Again, I'm not growing indoors. You know, I'm not going to be doing that like year round. Again, this is primarily for seed starting. As far as price, you know, I waited till we got our tax return because it was a little bit of an investment. I think I spent about $215 altogether on this fixture. Now, with that being said, the bulbs, they last a really long time, like 55,000 hours. More than likely, if I take care of this, you know, I'm not abusing it, I don't drop it, you know, whatever, I could easily get 10 years out of this fixture, I think, you know, as far as the bulbs, before I would have to replace anything. And again, they're running at a lot lower voltage, so that should save on the electric bill. They'll basically pay for themselves. So it's, you know, and I plan on growing as long as I can, you know, because I enjoy gardening and all that. As long as we're able and we have the space, that's what I'll be doing, you know, as a hobby. They got more expensive setups out there. There's a company or a Grow Like setup. I think it's called Spider, and there's reviews all over YouTube with that setup, and it's I think a little pricier than what this was, but you get the full spectrum of light. And again, those kinds of systems are for people that are growing indoors year round, or they're growing things that are going to be fruiting, you know, like recreational plants, stuff like that. So anyway, pretty happy with the setup. I haven't started any seeds yet. You know, the way the weather is around here, it'll probably be another month, honestly, before I start anything. There, you know, basically with March, you know, winter, it kind of comes in like a lamb out like a lion, it seems like here. And typically we'll get, I don't know, last year it was just really cold up through like beginning to mid-May. So cold weather stuff, I may start, you know, later this month and try to get some starts, and maybe try to get something in the ground late April, something like that. And then we'll follow that up with the warm weather stuff around Memorial Day. I'll try to time it so I've got tomatoes and peppers, so probably 6 to 8 weeks back from Memorial Day weekend, probably 6 weeks back for the tomatoes, 8 weeks back for the peppers. I'll have starts for those. Lettuce, I'll probably direct seed. That's the other thing I'm finding. There's certain crops it's just better to direct sow. I could do starts, but typically what will happen is the conditions out there are so just kind of brutal with the straight line winds and all of that, that most of the original start that I have anyway will kind of almost die back, and it's having to pretty much start over. not with everything, but so I don't know. We'll see. I'm just kind of gonna play a little bit by ear, watch weather forecast. You know, who knows? It may be warmer sooner this year. We had kind of a mild winter, or we've had a mild winter so far. So maybe it's gonna be fine, and I'll be able to start things a little bit earlier than that. But right now, that's a tentative plan. Gonna use this, and then what's nice is I still got my fluorescent set up here. I did have just 2 light fixtures. I've got 3 that are jerry rigged together here. These were my main lights before I got the LED fixture. So I'll have this as kind of an overflow table for anything that I'm wanting to start. So it's worked out pretty well. I'll show you the worm bin real quick. Let's flip the camera around. Worm bin's going pretty well. Wormies are happy. And I've been keeping them well fed. I just put in a big glob of food last night. And there's our wormies. They're already on it. So about 32 ounces of pulverized vegetable matter, coffee grounds and stuff. Went in this spot right here. I've put stuff in other places. The banana that we had going right here is pretty well gone. I put an apple in here too a couple days ago, and they've been around it. I don't think really munching on it too much yet. It probably needs to break down just a little bit. But overall, things are going pretty well with the worm bin. There's lots of little worm cocoon, like egg sacs. Here's an example. And inside of that's 5 to 6 worms probably. Could be up to that amount. And I've seen stuff like that throughout, like when I go to pull matter back, I'll come across that. There's another one. And there's another one. So I mean, they're doing their thing. So I'm probably gonna have some baby worms here pretty soon as they you know, hatch out of that. Within probably another month or 2, that tray will be finished out. Some really good worm castings. I'll be starting another tray, and we'll see how that goes. So anyway, super excited about these grow lights. I think it's going to make a difference this year. The other thing too, I mean, you can try to do it yourself. I mean, there's videos on it where you can get, like, you know, LED strips from like China, or like real cheap bulbs, and kind of daisy chain them together and build your own frame and all of that. And that's fine. But I chose to go this route, and like I said, I think in a relatively short amount of time, the system will more than pay for itself, and should get plenty of use out of it. So anywho, I guess that's it for now. Until next time, happy gardening. Bye.